What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Patriots Talk with me, Donovan McKenzie. For some of you may know, I have another channel where I do games. This one is strictly focused on football and, of course, my team, the Patriots. And I thought would be a fitting first episode, now that we're officially in off-season, is talking about the QB situation. And I thought that would be the best thing for me to do because of the fact that I thought, with, us having the third overall pick and us having two rookie QBs technically still under contract, I thought it felt fitting to talk about this and give you my point of view. And, for some people, it may not be a surprise. For a lot of other people, it's definitely going to be a surprise. And that is, I feel like we should still run with Mac Jones. And I know people are going to hate that. Mac Jones is garbage. Mac Jones is shit. But he really isn't. That's the thing. Okay? I'm going to pull up his stats from his rookie year. People probably do that. They'd be like, well, it's his rookie year, whatever. Rookie year. Where he had Josh McDaniels, right? He still had the same weapons, He had 3,801 yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 picks, right? And that year he broke a lot of rookie records at QB. He was second in Offensive Rookie of the Year. He made Pro Bowl, yes, I know, as a reserve, but that's saying a lot coming from the fact that he had to at least gotten some votes to be thought of. Like Joe Burrow wasn't going to play because he's in the Super Bowl. Josh Allen didn't want to play because if he was to make the Super Bowl, right? Some people take the offer, or people who get injured. Josh Allen, Lamar was injured. Josh Allen didn't want to get injured. Made Pro Bowl. Now, as a fan, I was so excited because we also made playoffs. We were the first seed for a bit, but we ended as the second seed. And people are really forgetting that because of the fact that what's happened in the past 2 years. And I understand that. But you gotta think, we were on a 7-game winning streak, including the Bills game. People bring that up. Well, Mac Jones only threw 3 passes. He threw 3 passes in the most windiest, wet, pretty much rainiest game. And it was snowing. Okay? If you're a head coach or a coordinator, you don't want your rookie, remember that, rookie QB in a situation like that. Because the fact that if they fuck up, they're going to put that on themselves, and that's going to fuck them up mentally. You don't want that. So the best thing to do is run the ball. And I know Josh Allen was throwing, but it's Josh Allen. He's been in the game for 3 years. He knows how to adapt. He's been in that situation several times. Of course he's not going to understand that. So you're not going to have a QB throw in that game, right? And so other than that, we went against the Browns with a pretty great defense. People brought up, they didn't have OBJ. They didn't have AJ or Julio or Derrick Henry. They didn't have a healthy Chargers team on the offensive side. Explain to me how that affects Mac Jones. It doesn't. That affects the defense. Mac Jones had to go against Joey Bosa, Derwin James, okay? He had to go against Myles Garrett and a somewhat good Jadeveon Clowney with Denzel Ward. He had to go against Kevin Byard and Jeffrey Simmons. Okay? He had to go against the Bills team. Understandably, he didn't throw much. Right? He had to go against a lot of good teams, excluding at the time the Jets. And he still was able to perform phenomenal. Okay? Then we go into his second year. Second year, he had 2,997, 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Now, 1,000 yards to off. He did miss 3 games because of injury, and he didn't finish the Bears game. But then, remember, he didn't even have an offensive coordinator that year, okay? He didn't have an offensive coordinator because his coordinators at that time was Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. 2 people who have no idea about the offense. And, there was talks well, Matt Patricia was offensive line coach at the time. Yeah, but he didn't fucking call plays. That was Bill O'Brien. That was Josh McDaniels. Okay? Then he went to the defensive side. He had no ideas. And so the entire time we were in playing offense, Mac Jones was throwing screen routes or short routes. And the only time he ever went deep was to Devontae Parker, which still made no sense why we drafted Tyquan Thornton. And we ended the draft talking about how we wanted to get faster, we draft speed. And yet, we barely used Pierre, who we drafted, who was a fast running back. We did not use Tyquan in the way that we should have, which was just throwing that man on streaks. Okay, man 6'2" and was pretty much just as fast as Tyreek Hill. Okay, he wasn't recorded because it was a test trial. It wasn't his final time. He had a 4.21. Okay, that was the fastest he got. Then he ended with a 4.28. Okay, my man is just as fast as Tyquan. Okay, we didn't use him the way we should have. It made no sense, but we used Devontae. Okay. And who I fucking hated. At that time, I didn't care. Like, our receiving options were mid. We never. As a QB, you need to have a number one option. It's been shown. Tom had Gronk. Then he had Mike. Right? And then Antonio. Right? Pat had Travis and Tyreek. Josh has Diggs. Joe has T. Higgins or Jamar. Right? All of these QBs have a number one option. And Belichick never went for a trade or to go in and draft what could be a number one receiver. He didn't trade down and trade up to go select a George Pickens. He had that chance in the first round, by the way, too, but he decided to take Cole Strange. Okay? And so Mac didn't have a number one option, so we traded for Devontae. At that time, I didn't care. I thought Devontae Parker, he's an all-right option. Our team is pretty much mid as it is, but we don't have Josh McDaniels, and that's the one thing Josh McDaniels is really good at. Okay, this is like, that was the one thing Josh McDaniels is good at, is being able to make these mid players look just as good as one of these fucking other players, because the final way they get them open, the spacing that they need. Right? And helping Mac Jones put the ball where it needs to be. You bring in Matt Patricia, who's got nothing like that. He has no chemistry with Mac. He doesn't know how to help Mac. And so all they kept doing was the most pathetic, like, I don't know what defensive corner, like, well, screen routes were always good. They weren't. The Mac's injured, Bailey comes in. And the one thing that they do with Bailey, like, I think Bailey's a great QB. Okay? But what they did with Bailey is the opposite of what they did with Mac. They were putting Bailey on the most easiest passes, which I don't know why they weren't doing that with Mac in the first place. Play action is supposed to help a QB. And as a rookie, you got to make that. You have to make him get comfortable with the offense. But it made no sense why we weren't doing that with Mac. Several times we were doing that. Then Mac Jones comes back, and at the end of the season, we found out later on that Mac was talking to Alabama to get some help. Right? And so they kind of let Mac Jones do his own thing a little bit. And it was working. We were winning. We had the fucking Raiders game. If we won that, we would make playoffs. If we won the Bengals game, we would make playoffs. But we didn't. We didn't make playoffs. We were a game short. It fell in the Bills. If we beat the Bills, we were in the playoffs. If we won the other two games, it was guaranteed. But we went against the Bills. And everyone's forgetting that Bills game that Mac had. 17 for 17, 3 touchdowns, almost 200 yards in the first half. Everyone's forgetting that. Because he comes in year 3. Bill O'Brien comes in as our offensive coordinator. Right? And that's good. Don't get me wrong. That is good. The one thing we needed still was a receiver one. We didn't try trading up for a receiver. We had what? Pick 17, right? We could have picked either Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers. I wanted Zay. I thought we give Mac Zay. Zay could be great. Look what Zay did with Lamar Jackson, right? Imagine those two helping each other, Jordan Addison, or trading with your pick for a receiver. But another thing that was stupid is that we let Jacoby go. One thing that we shouldn't have done, because Matt Patricia didn't let Mac have his number one option, which was Kendrick Bourne his first year. It was him and Hunter. He put Kendrick Bourne in the doghouse for no reason, because he was late. Once. He couldn't even play the first 8 games. 8 to 9 games before he came in for the first time and didn't play until the last 3-4 games. It was ridiculous. Okay? But then he lets his other guy he built chemistry with that year go because he wasn't willing to pay him $1 million more than that he was giving. But then you get the same contract that he was given by the Raiders. Jacoby was given by the Raiders to Juju. Don't get me wrong, Juju's great, but Juju's at his prime. He's injury prone. And I thought, well, Bill Bryan, he's a great offense coordinator. He can do something. But the way that he plays to Josh McDaniels is totally different. Bill Bryan likes to make big plays, and we don't have the receivers for that. DeMario showed up. He did. Kayshawn didn't get much love after the first game, which is kind of surprising. I don't know why. But DeMario showed up when he needed to. But Juju didn't really get much. He got 200 yards. We paid him $33 million for 3 years. Okay? Or 200 yards. We barely used him. Okay? And by doing this, your coach, as a head coach, you also have to be there for your QB. Mac Jones was fucked up severely. Severely. Because of the fact that there was trade rumors. He was about to be traded away because Bailey Zappi was so good. Bailey Zappi played 3 games, and if he gave those plays to Mac Jones, he probably would have done the same thing as Bailey. Okay? But then, you're giving Bill Bryan, he's energized, he's ready to do this. He has to win his starting job. He wins it. He's better than Bailey in the training camp. So really, every single time I saw a report and it was training camp, Mac Jones was throwing fucking 11 for 11. He threw 2 touchdowns. Bailey was throwing a pick. Right? It was looking good for Mac. We come to the first game of the Eagles. Now, our running game was not working. Right? We had Zeke. We just signed Zeke a month prior. We didn't really get anything going with him. We couldn't. Same thing with Ramondre. So we had to pass. Mac Jones, he threw 50 passes. Understandably. But he had almost 314. Should have been 400, but he only completed 30 of them. And some of them were just short passes. Right? And the ones that would have been completed that could have gone 400 yards were fucking tip passes or tiptoes that never got put on the ground. 1 out of bounds. 1 out of bounds. Or drop passes. But he threw 3 fucking touchdowns after throwing the first pick. Oh, it's looking bright. We're going to be a dark horse. I said that. We're going to be a dark horse. Everyone's going to think the Jets are going to be good. There goes Aaron Rodgers. And then everything starts to go downhill. We decided not to use what we did against the Eagles. We decided the opposite because now we can run the ball. All we were doing was running the ball, and we were running the same passes we did last week. Not in the same style of passes. DeMario has a big play, did a little bit too much as a rookie, wanted to make big plays, did a little bit too much, cost us a fumble. And then it came down to a Cole Strange first down. And that didn't happen. Go against the Jets. We at least beat the Jets. Mac Jones, 200 yards, no picks, touchdown, or 2. Okay? But then after that, it just went downhill. We go against the Cowboys, and this man's Cowboys were in his head. Got fucked up, right? This year, he got benched several times and didn't play much games. 10 touchdowns to 12 interceptions with 2,000 yards. Okay? But what people are forgetting is that rookie year where he actually was given shit. Where the coaching staff actually cared. I'm not saying Bill Bryan did not care, but Belichick didn't. Belichick gave up on him after the second year with no offense coordinator, and so did everyone else. I just got done watching a video from the end of the first year where it said Mac Jones' successor, and they were talking about how no one believed in him, and he showed up and just destroyed everything. He was the best QB in that rookie class. Made Pro Bowl, all of this. Everyone is forgetting that when that man had Josh McDaniels under our offensive coordinator, he was able to make those mid receivers look good. He's the only person to really do that. You look at every other offensive coordinator. Gabe Davis is mid, right? But he's a great route runner, so he's able to create space. But Diggs is the go-to guy. But now they switch up their shit. Now they're a running team. Makes no sense. But they are, right? But you look at everyone else. Everyone's got that number 1 receiver. Mac Jones has never fucking had that. And literally everyone is giving up on him. So what I think we should do is let Mac Jones stick it out. He's on his last year of his deal. And this is, if I'm Gerard Mayo, if I'm Andrew Van Pelt, this is what I'm doing. Okay? Mac Jones is on his last year of the deal. You don't pick up his 5th-year option. Okay? You decide you're going to go into free agency. You're going to sign. You're going to give a bag to one of the 4 receivers that they don't get fucking franchise tag. Since T. Higgins just got franchise tagged a couple days ago, they don't want to move on without him. But in the same sense, dude, you guys don't need 2 receiver ones, because it's like you guys got Jamar, you can sign Tyler Boyd, but you guys have no fucking money. So that is like literally the only thing they're going to be able to do. Because as soon as Joe Burrow's contract hits, they're under cap. So maybe not. Maybe since they got that extra 30 mil, they probably have a few mils to spend. But pretty much, you sign either Michael Pittman, Mike Evans, Calvin Ridley, right? Who's the other one? There was another one that's like, I'm not trying to think Curtis Samuel, because like, you don't need him. But like, you sign either Michael Pittman, Mike Evans, maybe a Calvin Ridley, right? You give a little bit of money for the defense. I didn't know this, that Xavier Howard got released. NFL did not post anything about that. And so I found out from my brother. Then, I found out L'Jarius Sneed's a free agent. So it would be so good if we just gave him money instead of Xavier, have L'Jarius and Christian fucking as a duo. That'd be good. But what you do is you go and you sign a great left tackle. I'm looking at our offensive line. If you re-sign Michael Onwenu, City stuff wasn't bad, but if you want to find a right guard to fill that spot, you do that. You have David Andrews if it doesn't retire. You have Cole Strange, who's he's mid, he's solid. You sign a left tackle. Trent Brown's garbage. I literally hate Trent Brown because literally the man just only thing he does is let up sacks. And he's gonna want a lot of money. So you go and find someone like a Tyron Smith, who might be a free agent. I don't know. I don't know if they gave him an extension or not. You find someone who can fill that spot. Or you can make a trade for it. I don't know. But instead of going QB with your 3rd, which is, in my opinion, is stupid because this is the way we should do it, you sign Marvin Harrison. Next year, there's Shadir Sanders. There's going to be Quinn Ewers. There's going to be another QB that I'm just blanking. I don't know. Because I don't know if Jordan Travis is even committed because of his injury. So I think he might just stay an extra year just so he can rise up the stocks. You could have Jordan Travis. Like, literally, you could have that if he's on this draft. He might have declared, but he had that nasty injury at the end of the season. So, and then even if you didn't want to do that, you sign a veteran QB that year, too. So you have Marvin Harrison. Next year, we're just as bad, right? But you don't like the QBs. You have Arch Manning 2026. So you just sign a veteran QB and then either trade back to a pick where you don't think they're going to be as good as they are next year, or you just see how well you are that year and you go pick up Arch fucking Manning. Makes no sense on why we don't do that. But you let Mac Jones rock this year, and he's got to earn his contract. If he succeeds and he's good, you give him a contract. And Mac should understand he's not going to get the money that you would think he would get. He's going to get maybe a 3-year, 4-year deal worth of only $20 million, which means he's only being paid $5 million. Not even, he might get 4 years, $15 million. He's going to understand that, like, dude, you had those 2 bad years, but in the same sense, it's not his fault. As a coach and as teammates, you got to be there. You see this man fucking crumbling? Be there. You got to lift him up. You got to literally make sure that he gets on the right path. And everyone's like, the reports being like, Mac Jones lost the locker room. I don't believe those. I think he probably lost the defense because the defense was like, we're doing all this shit and the offense ain't doing shit. He probably lost Trent Brown and he probably lost Devontae Parker, but Kendrick Bourne loves him. Right? Pretty much most of the offensive side loves him. Devontae Parker, fucking hate. He can't take up his own like mistakes. And I should have understood this when this first game he played against his old team, and he got a pass interference call, and he said, "Oh, it wasn't pass interference. It was a clean play." When I'm seeing him being held, like, it makes no sense. But then he had that catch where he blamed it on Mac, like it was in my tip. It hit my tips. It wasn't in my hand. When it was fully in his hand, he just didn't want to take the responsibility, and everything was going on Mac. Okay, like Mac Jones, if he gets traded, he'll be great on the 49ers. He'll be great on the Browns. He'll be great on any team that has a true number 1 receiver. He didn't have that here. Belichick never decided to give it to him. That's why Belichick was the worst GM of his part of his ending his career. At the end point of his GM career, he was garbage when it came to decisions. He wasn't giving Jacoby what he deserved. Jacoby wanted $1 million more. Says no, but gives it to Juju. Right? Trading for Devontae Parker, giving up a third. I know that's like a big thing for him, but still. Devontae Parker, you could have went in and traded for maybe T. Higgins. You could have traded for Calvin Ridley. You could have done so much, and you didn't do that. So you let Mac Jones stay for this last year, earn his contract. If he sucks, you have Shadir. Okay? That is what I feel like should happen. I'm a Mac Jones supporter, and I wasn't at first. That's the thing. When we drafted him, I hated the option. I wanted Justin Fields because we had Cam Newton. It made no sense on why we didn't trade up for Justin Fields. Right? The Bears traded up. We should have traded up before them. Like, oh shit, Justin Fields. We have Cam Newton, but Mac Jones earned the starting job. And as soon as I saw that first game, I had hope that this man was going to be our franchise QB. It just didn't end that way because of the fact that Bill never gave him the support that he needed. He never got that true number one receiver. He had a bad offensive line this year. By the way, a lot of receivers dropped his passes. It just started fucking with his head, and now he has no confidence. And Gerard said that they have to work on his confidence. Like, confidence is so fragile. He has to work on that. And Gerard said that he's going to help him with that. So, I feel like you just rock with Mac. You pick Marvin Harrison up, who's a generational receiver. Right there, you have your number one receiver for, like, fucking forever. Like, if you just gave him the money that he wants, you could have him forever. It makes no sense. Right? I feel like we shouldn't go much defense in free agency anyways, because of the fact that we already have a great defense. If we lose Josh Uche, we lose Josh Uche. Brian Burns hasn't been franchise tagged as I'm recording this, but I feel like as soon as I upload this, he's going to be franchise tagged. There is Josh Allen too. Like, there's so many options on defense if you want to fill that spot of Josh Uche. But, I don't know. L'Jarius Sneed is the only option where I feel like we should, because J.C. Jackson, we release him. And we signed L'Jarius. We have Christian. We have Jonathan Jones. Marcus Jones comes back too. It's good. We re-signed Kyle Duggar. Like, it could be good. That's the thing. But it's our offense that we need to put time into. I feel like we're in a rebuilding year, so I don't expect much, but I just want to see, if we keep Mac, I want to see an improvement. You give this man what he needs. Marvin Harrison. You give him another receiver like Michael Pittman, Calvin Ridley, Mike Evans, right? And who would be number one? I feel like you don't make Marvin your number one yet. You have Mike Evans, you sign him for 2 years. If you get Mike Evans, if you get Calvin Ridley, Marvin's your number one. You got Michael Pittman's your number one. That's the way that I see it. Calvin's not a number one receiver, but if you draft Marvin Harrison, Marvin's your number one. So it's like, there's a lot that you could do. I feel like you keep Mac Jones, you give him Marvin Harrison. That Marvin Harrison should be our third pick. It shouldn't be Jane Daniels because there's other quarterbacks down the future. Shadir, Quinn Ewers, like I said, maybe Jordan Travis if he didn't declare this year. But I don't think he did because he had a really bad injury. So I think he might want to stick it back for another year. And then if we don't get 2025 QBs, because we were actually good, then okay. But if we're not, and take a veteran QB and you stick with them for a year. Like, unless you sign a QB. And the thing is though is that with Mac not being under his shit and you keep Mac Jones and you have him learn under Kirk Cousins, if you do that, it makes no sense because he didn't pick up his 5th-year option. So it's like, now you have to give Mac Jones a contract. Like, well, we're bringing in Kirk here to help Mac Jones. Mac Jones can learn under him, right? That's not bad. You bring Kirk in for a year, maybe for a year for like $15 million. You do that, which I don't think Kirk would take, but you do that. You have Mac learn under him, and you give it with Mac like an extension of 1 year so he can now see what he has learned from Kirk into this year. And so, I don't know. But I feel like we gotta keep with Mac for the rest of this contract. Because he's got no trade value. That's the thing. If he does good and you still don't want him, he did good. Now he has trade value. He's worth a second. Like, You going from a first to a 6 is ridiculous. They did that with Trey Lance, and Trey Lance was just a backup, pretty much. So, understandable. Zach Wilson, understandable. But it makes no sense on why you give away your first round pick for a 6 who's going to be cut. And that's the thing. It makes no sense. So, I feel like we rock with Mac. We give him Marvin Harrison. We see what he's done. Because now, he has no excuses too. Like, well, we gave him an offensive coordinator. He has no excuses. No, but he has no receivers and no offensive line. It makes no sense. Like, they strayed away from what they were doing good in the first game, and it just crumbled. It made no sense. They didn't have Jalen Ramsey, that Dolphins game that we had in week 2, and yet we still didn't try attacking the air. Now, I know he threw the pick to Xavier. Yeah, but, like, other than that, the offensive line was horrendous, and we had no receiver 1. So, we give Mac Jones that and a solid O-line, and we'll see what Van Pelt can do. He could probably turn Mac from maybe what he had back to his, like, rookie year numbers, maybe a little bit over that, like 3,900, 25 touchdowns, maybe 10 picks, 9 picks. Now Mac Jones is looking very solid. And you're like, well, let's look solid. Let's look at Trey Lawrence's sophomore year numbers when they gave Christian Kirk the most richest contract, okay? That's pretty much what Trevor Lawrence had. 4,000, 25, and 8. It's pretty much 200 yards off. So, that's what I think. We bring him back for 1 more year on his last year of his contract deal, and he has to earn the contract. But I hope you guys enjoy, subscribe, like. See you next time.